Okay guys, it's time for some hacks. I've been seeing tons of style hacks and grooming hacks videos going about recently. So I've decided to make this video the king of all style hacks videos. So in this video, I'll be covering not 5, not 10, but 50 style and grooming hacks to make you feel more attractive instantly. These are shortcuts and tricks that any guy can easily implement, and they'll make you look better straight away. And before we crack on with the hacks, if you are new around here and you want to see videos on how to style your hair and what to wear, make sure you press the subscribe button too. Hack number 1 is if you're short of a tie bar. These things look great and are really functional too. But what if you go somewhere and you find yourself without one, but you don't want your tie still flapping around everywhere? Well, take a look at what your female partner's got, or even what you may be able to find in local stores. Using one of her hairpins can be a great replacement. Now, I wouldn't normally recommend putting this across the front of the tie, but if you put it across the rear of the tie, it can really help. Make sure that the rear of the tie is tucked into the section at the front, and then slide on the hairpin to keep everything in place. Hack number 2 has got you covered if you've got flappy, horrible collars. Luckily for me, with this shirt, I've got buttons. But if you haven't, and your collar is flapping free, then some tape can come in really useful. Simply fold the sellotape back on itself to create a loop that's sticky all the way around. And then place this directly below the collar. And then fold your collar down and it acts to stick it in place. It's a great way of keeping your collar tight to the neckline. There are also products out there as well, such as the fashion anchor, which you can easily use for the same function. The third hack is important if you want to actually smell nice. Nobody's going to find you attractive if you smell terrible. The issue is lots of fragrances can prove really expensive, often well upwards of £70 per bottle. So what's the best way of trialing loads of different fragrances so that you can actually find scents that smell good on you? Well, my favourite method far and away is today's video sponsor, Scentbird. Scentbird are the market leaders when it comes to monthly subscription scents. For under $15, they ship you a new fragrance every single month. Basically, you log onto their website and you can choose from a selection of over 450 authentic fragrances. Choose the fragrance that you want, and then once a month you'll be sent your fragrance of choice in this sleek sprayer. I love smelling great, and before Scentbird came along really with their service, I've had to go out there and buy loads of fragrances at the full retail price. And what's awesome is that with Scentbird you actually get quite a good amount for your money. It's a decent 30-day supply, and the sprayer easily fits in my bag as well, so I can take this to work too. It allows me to chop and change between different fragrances, so I can try lots of different ones to find one that's awesome for me. Recently, I've received notable brands including Gucci, Bulgari, and Dolce & Gabbana, and I've been able to do that without having to commit to buying a full bottle of the stuff, because I'm not that rich. And there are loads of other brands on there, you've got Tom Ford, Prada, there's loads for everyone. It's really easy to set up, so go down there, check the link in the description below. And if you use the link down below, you get 25% discount on your perfume using my code. It's an awesome service that you need to try if you want to smell good. The fourth hack on this list will help your head to look more symmetrical. And it's one that no one seems to know. And that is, take a look at your face in the mirror and decide which way your head curves. Unless you're a super lucky guy, maybe a model, your head's going to most likely curve to one side. Mine, for instance, it sort of curves this way. And what you can easily do to neutralize a slight bit of that curvature is to position your parting on the correct side. For a long time, I had my parting on this side of my head, but due to the way that my hair came across this way, it emphasized the curvature of my face. So I switched the parting to the opposite side, and now that acts to counteract the curvature on my face. My hair pushes across and upwards this way to create a slightly longer profile. I covered this in a recent video, so make sure if you want to see that one fully in depth, make sure you press the I in the corner of the screen. The fifth style hack is particularly useful if you're on a little bit of a weight gain. Is your collar feeling a little bit too tight to do up? Well, what you can do is unstitch the button and move it slightly more centrally. This means that when you do the collar up, there isn't quite the same amount of tension. The material isn't stretching and breaking to try and reach the hole. You can not only implement this hack with the collars, but also on other style items. For instance, I've tried this recently on one of my blazers. My beer belly was getting a bit much, and it was no longer comfortable to wear that. I had an event coming up and I didn't have time to take it to the tailor. So my wonderful girlfriend unstitched and restitched the button slightly further across, and it made all the difference, and it made it comfortable to wear with the button done up. Easy and simple. Hack number 6 is really useful for you skinny guys out there. Maybe you haven't put on that weight gain, but you need some more tips. This is one that loads of guys overlook completely, and that's to do with your shirt cuffs. With loads of shirts, you'll find that there are 2 buttons on the cuff. one that pulls the material slightly tighter than the other. If you're a skinny guy, utilize the second button. Loads of dudes who are really slim don't use this at all. They're happy to use the regular button and then have a ton of baggy material dipping down from the wrist. If you're wearing a shirt like this, then it just makes you look even thinner. It makes you look like you're not filling the material at all. So what I do when I have the opportunity a lot of times, because I've got quite skinny arms, is to use the second button. And it just pulls the shirt tighter and provides a more tailored fit across the arm. So take a look at the shirts that you've got in your wardrobe and potentially give this a try. Hack number 7 is useful if you forgot your pocket square. Once more, this is a useful accessory that can complete an outfit. But what happens if you're among esteemed company and you haven't got one? There are 2 things you can easily do in this situation. The first one is to use something like a napkin. A lot of times, if it's a higher quality napkin in particular, you can fold this up and have it as a bit of a makeshift pocket square. Loads of guys use plain white pocket squares anyway, so sometimes this could fill in. But another thing that you can look for, which will be present on a lot of suit jackets in particular, is a pocket lining. Often, pocket linings on premium suits will have a pattern inside, and they'll be quite deep, so what you can do in certain circumstances is to pull the lining out and pretend that it's a pocket square. This is something that I could potentially do with at least one of the suits that I've got in my wardrobe. Once more, it's not a permanent solution, but it is at least a hack. Hack number 8 is going to be really useful if you've got extremely bushy eyebrows. There are lots of useful tutorials out there on YouTube about how you can pluck and cut your eyebrows. And that's decent, but lots of times it can take quite a long time. One of the ways that I've found to easily, shorten and reduce the bushiness of eyebrows is actually by using hair thinning scissors. As long as you're responsible with these, then they can prove to be a very useful tool. These are not only great if you're a barber wanting to thin a client's hair, but they're a really cheap and easy solution to just thin out your eyebrows a little bit without having to go through the procedure of using tweezers. And this is useful if you don't want to reshape your eyebrow much, you just want to make it look a bit less thick. Well worth an investment. Hack number 9 is going to help if you're not particularly on the tall side. This is to do with colour coordination, and that is make sure that you're not wearing trousers and shoes that have got a super high contrast. For instance, if you're wearing a black pair of jeans, wearing a white pair of trainers can make you look shorter. It blocks off different sections of your body. You can look a lot taller if you were wearing something that was closer to the colour of the trouser. A slightly darker colour, or even a black again, can definitely make a slight difference. It allows the colour to continually flow down and make your legs look bigger. It won't make you look as tall as a giraffe, but it still works a tiny bit. Style hack number 10 helps to prevent creasing in your clothes. You've all seen it when you take your trousers off the hanger and they've got a firm crease line where the hanger was. Well, by using kitchen roll, you can solve this. Once you've used up all the paper, simply wrap the empty tube around one of the hangers. This leaves a wider and more curved surface for the clothes to fold over, thus completely eliminating the crease lines. Number 11 will make you look dapper if you want the full-on shiny shoes. And that is, as opposed to using regular polish with your shoes, try using something like olive oil instead. It's oil, it's going to make your shoes shiny. Lots of people have tried this with success, but don't take it too far and overload your shoes with constant oil all the time. But every now and again, this can work. Hack number 12 is one you'll want to introduce if your shirts keep coming untucked, and that is just use shirt stays. There are loads of random, silly ways of attempting to keep your shirt tucked in. I tested a bunch of them in a recent video myself to see if any of them worked. And the only one, in my opinion, that's even worth trying at all is shirt stays, because they're the only ones that actually do the job. So save yourself a hassle of having to try multiple different methods. Just do this one because it actually just works. Hack number 13 will help you, especially if you're traveling. And maybe you've got a shirt that's super creased up. Rather than having to iron that shirt, you can easily use wrinkle releaser to get rid of some of the wrinkles. Spray this stuff on and then stretch your shirts out for a while and you'll have results. It won't ever be quite as good as ironing, but it is useful in a pinch. Hack number 14 is a way of shortening your shoelaces. This is one that I recently included in my shoelace tactics video. Rather than having to tuck in your laces so that your shoes fly off, or chopping your laces, you can double lace them. This is essentially where you go through the same hole twice. I fully explained the process in that video, but essentially you can easily shorten a couple of inches off the laces without having to buy new laces, without having to sacrifice the laces themselves. And it's barely visible, so it's an awesome option for your trainers. Hack number 15 is another great one that you can use to improve your style. I see loads of dudes asking in, Facebook groups and forums online, does this look good? Should I wear this? What do I wear? One of the ways you can easily get outfit inspiration is just looking at different hashtags on Instagram. Instagram's a place where people are as vain as it gets. And as a result, there's loads of guys on there that are trying to dress as sharp as possible. So if you're looking for ways to match an item with other items of clothing, it's a great place to start. Number 16 is going to be useful if you've got incredibly spotty skin. One of the best ways to actually prevent spots in the first place, rather than trying to cure them, is to use hand wash every single day. Because spots and acne can easily start by you using your hands to touch your face. Your hands are full of loads of bacteria, especially if you're one of the tons of guys that doesn't actually wash their hands after they've been to the toilet. Instead of transferring that bacteria onto your face from the toilet, use hand wash as many times as possible. Even if it's just a random point in the day, or if you've been doing anything down there, make sure you clean your hands. Hack number 17 has got to be the easiest one to implement on the whole of this list out of the 50. And that is, what do you do if your t-shirt sleeves are too long? I see tons of men where their t-shirt sleeves, they're almost the same length as the ones I'm wearing here. They're down around the elbow area, they look terrible. The answer? Turn it into a roll-up. You can potentially, chop a section of the sleeve off and then roll. But either way, if you're rolling the shirt up and making it look, intentionally as a style decision, it looks a lot better than having a shirt or a t-shirt that ends around the elbow. Hack number 18 will be incredibly useful if you actually want to look good consistently. And that is schedule your haircuts. Not every barber's allows you to do this, in which case, you need to change your barber, because if you go to a place where you can easily schedule in your haircuts and plan them ahead, it's way more useful. You can easily see the same barber again and again so that you get the best results possible. That barber knows how to cut your hair personally, and also it saves you waiting. With loads of barbershops in this country, you're there for ages just waiting for other people to go first. If you book it in, you might have up to an hour potentially free on that day because you've just booked in advance. Hack number 19 is going to help you to find your t-shirts and shirts better. And that is, when you're storing your t-shirts and shirts, make sure once they're folded that you position them vertically so that you can see the edge of all of the items in the drawer. I saw this awesome tip on Paul McGregor's channel a while ago. So shout out to Paul for making me aware of this one. But yeah, with this tip, you can essentially easily find the t-shirt you want without having to, take out loads and loads of different items, without having to crease anything up. You can find it straight away. Style hack number 20 to look better instantly is get your items tailored. If you want your clothes to look as good as possible, that they fit you as well as possible, you'll probably want to go to the tailor. I did with this shirt because this shirt was absolutely massive when I first got it. I ordered it online in the same size as another shirt that I've got from the same brand that fitted great. But this one arrived and, there's always variants with these brands and it fitted too big. So I took it to the tailor and for below £10, she sorted it out. And now it looks a million times better. This is a great way of making cheaper clothes look more expensive and premium too. Hack number 21 will keep your shoes in awesome condition to prevent those shoes that you've got stored away from becoming moldy, because that's something that's happened to us all. And that is, make sure that you've got a dehumidifier that you can occasionally use in that area. I've got a mini dehumidifier that I use in my cupboard. I've got loads of shoes across the bottom of my wardrobe, but because of the humidity in the area, they sometimes become moldy. So I decided I'd chuck in a dehumidifier in here, and that has really solved the problem. It sucks all the excess moisture out of the air to keep your shoes looking great. Hack number 22 is going to be really useful if you're really tall. Loads of tall guys really struggle to find t-shirts and shirts that actually fit lengthways. There's not much that's more embarrassing than walking around the streets and showing your belly button. You're in luck these days because loads of brands provide long line fitting shirts. These are ones that are extra long for street style purposes. But if you're a really tall and skinny guy, then you don't have to worry about the street style purpose. You can easily repurpose these items as a regular t-shirt. And the great thing is, often these items fit quite tight on the torso and sleeves, which will suit your physique even more. Number 23 is going to help you if you run out of collar stays. Collar stays are a great little tool that you can use to keep your collar area quite firm. But if you've lost them, what can you do? You can easily use a paper clip as a substitute. Because of the shape of them, you can easily slide these in and use them as a replacement. They're not quite as stable, but they still do the job for short-term measures. Hack number 24 for if your trousers are too long or slightly too wide. This one's simple. Cuff them and pin roll them. This one's especially useful during the summertime when you're going to be wearing stuff like canvas trainers. You can either straight up cuff your trousers or you can pin roll them to make them slightly more tapered. Once more, it's not as good as getting your clothes tailored, but it is a short-term solution. Hack number 25 is another way to get rid of the creases in clothing. And this is great if you don't have access to a wrinkle releaser or an iron. What you can do in that situation is hang your clothes up in your bathroom. And then to get some vapor in the air, you turn the shower on hot. The water vapor that's now in the air helps to dampen the clothes. And it helps lots of the wrinkles to just drop straight out. Hack number 26 will help you to get some more grip on your leather-soled shoes really easily. Now normally when you first get a pair of leather-soled shoes, you can easily break your neck on any sort of a slippery surface. It takes quite a while to get these things eroded in enough to actually gain some grip. But what can you do to actually speed this process up? Well, you just need to have a little bit of sandpaper and then gently rub the bottom of the sole. You don't have to go overboard on this, but by sanding the bottom of the shoes slightly, you can get a bit of initial grip on the bottom of the shoes, thus making them far more wearable far more quickly. Hack number 27 is if you make a bit of a mistake. Maybe if you order some clothing and it arrives quite a lot bigger than you wanted. You don't want to send it back and you don't want to send it to a tailor. What you can consider doing is making sure that you wash it and dry it on quite a high temperature. Washing an item on a higher temperature than you normally would can result in the item shrinking down to a smaller size. You'll have to keep your fingers crossed that it won't go down to baby size. But if the items are really significantly too big, this can be one last ditch option. Hack number 28 is going to help you if you've got a zip that's stuck in position. If your zip is trapped and you don't want to have to cut any material, one of the best ways to loosen it off is by using soap as a lubricant. Bar soap is the best option. Just rub it onto both sides of the zip and away you go. You can even use different types of liquid soap on this, but the results vary. If you've got uncomfortable shoes, take a look at hack number 29. Take your removable sneaker insoles and put them in these shoes. Or if you've got some dedicated insoles, then use them instead. Lots of shoes, especially formal shoes, have got a really solid insole built into them, and it's not particularly comfortable and often quite slippery. Sliding one of these inside can be a great choice. Hack number 30 is really useful in embarrassing situations. There isn't much worse than the zipper on your fly breaking. What if it keeps falling down? Well, what you can do to make these a lot more wearable is use a key ring to keep them up. Slot the loop through the zipper and then attach it over the top of the button. And there you go, it's impossible for it to fall down. Hack number 30 is going to be really useful if you struggle with underarm sweat. You can experiment with 1,000 different types of antiperspirants, but if you actually want to stop it, then consider using an undershirt. These thin shirts that go under your regular clothing help to prevent the sweat, or at least provide a barrier between your skin and the clothing. And this means that you're not left with disgusting dark patches under your arm. I typically go for the lower V-neck ones, which don't look fantastic by themselves, but they allow me to wear button-down shirts without them being visible. Number 32 is a great colour matching hack. I've heard the same repeated advice over and over again, which says you need to match your belt with the upper of a shoe, and then that'll make a complete outfit. But what you can do instead, if you feel like this is too restricting for you, is look at other aspects of the shoe as well. You can potentially match a belt with the laces of a shoe, or if the shoe has got a contrasting sole to the upper, you can have a go at matching the belt to the sole instead, provided that it's visible from the top or the side. That'll still look good and you'll have much more combinations to choose from. Hack number 33 is going to easily enhance the life of your shoes. And that's a simple one. When you're putting your shoes on, use a shoe horn. You place this in the back of your shoe and then you can easily push your heel down into it. And what this does is it completely prevents you from destroying the back area of the shoe. I see far too many guys who stand on the back of the heel of the shoe and it looks terrible. So use a shoe horn and you won't have that problem. And it helps your shoes to last so much longer. Hack number 34 will help if you're wearing a white shirt, especially if you spill something on it. If you haven't got any washing up liquid and you need to instantly remove a stain, then this could be of some use. Try using soda water or white wine. Soda water is the one that I've tried in the past and it's the one I go to first. It's got the least chance of staining your clothes even further. For some reason, this one just seems to work. And I don't know whether it's down to the carbonation, I'm not sure, but it works a lot better than regular water. Then you've obviously got white wine, which is a bit more of a well-known one, but there is a slight risk, in my opinion, I think in some cases, of staining the clothes further. Hack number 35 is if you want to have the appearance of wearing no socks, but the convenience of wearing socks. Maybe if you don't want your feet to sweat when wearing shoes. And that is easily invest in a selection of no-show socks. I'm amazed how many guys still don't know that these even exist. No-show socks sit below the line of the shoe, so that when you put a trainer on, for instance, you can't visually see them. But they still cover the most important parts around the toes and around the heel, and this reduces the amount of friction on your feet. Hack number 36 is going to be really useful if you're someone, a bit like me, with a receding hairline. This hack will help you to reduce the visual appearance and the depth of the recession, and that is utilize a parting in the area where it's actually recessed. Loads of guys who've got receding hairlines don't have a parting in their hair, and they'd rather have, the whole entirety of their hair combed over. All this does is emphasize the recessed areas of your head. One of the most effective ways to almost conceal your receding hairline in plain sight is to use a parting in the recessed area. As you can see here, this is the area that my hair recesses the most in, and I've deliberately put the parting in right there next to it, because when you put a parting in, you're going to have some hair pulled backwards anyway, and as a result it looks far more natural and far less recessed. And then if you compare that to a hairstyle such as this, where I'm trying to push and curl everything over, I think that this just looks worse. From the side, it just looks like I've tried to push all my hair forward to cover up the gap. But anyone with any sort of knowledge of hair whatsoever can tell that you've got a recessed hairline. Whereas here, because I've adopted it as part of the parting, I think it just looks a bit more natural. The hair is sitting where it's supposed to naturally sit anyway. Either that, or shave yourself bald. Hack number 37 is going to save you time and also space in your wardrobe. When it comes to storing belts, loads of guys have to have the same old method of just rolling the belts up and then attempting to store them and hoping that they don't spring back apart. Really, the best way in this day and age to store your belts, to actually keep them looking vertical and not bending off to the side, is to store them vertically. There are certain belt companies out there, such as Core Essentials, that make a vertical belt storage solution, and it makes it so much easier than having to come in and roll your belt up. You literally just slide it straight on, and then it keeps it hanging vertically, and it's got its own hanger so you can chuck it into your wardrobe. Easy, simple, makes sense. In at hack number 38, we are using again sellotape, an extremely useful one for pet owners here. If you've got fur or fluff all over your clothing, then you can easily use sellotape. If you're short of a lint roller, this will easily, but a bit slowly, take off some of the fur and leave you looking lovely and clean. Hack number 39 may save you time every single week, and it'll stop you from having to go through all your washing to find the matching pair of socks. The best way to go here is that when you're finished using some socks, use a safety pin, clip them together before you put them in the laundry. And then, when they go into the wash, once they've been through the cycle and come out the other end, they'll still be attached together. So you won't have to root through all the different clothes to find that matching pair of socks. Now, if you've got some super premium socks that you don't want to damage, this may not be an option. But for the average guy, it certainly is. The 40th style hack, we're nearly there, boys, is if you want to keep your shoes protected from the rain. There's nothing worse than having your favorite shoes completely ruined. First things first here, I'd recommend using some form of protector spray. I've shown you this in use before on my channel. It provides a water-resistant barrier on the outside of your shoes. But if you're in an emergency and you don't have this at hand, you could potentially use a combination of candle wax or other types of waxes and a hairdryer. This provides a membrane around the shoe to protect it against water penetration. Hack number 41. I don't know if this is a hack technically or not, but it's for those of you who've got flat, boring hair, the hair type basically that I have normally. And that is, rather than just trying to apply your clay or your wax straight away, use some form of pre-styler, just like mousse in combination with a hairdryer. Incredibly easy, incredibly simple. Wax some of this in, use this on medium heat fast speed, and you're good to go. I got this for 39 pence, so you've got no excuse. Hack number 42 is use a razor to remove the balls. Luckily, not yours. When you've worn a sweater for a while, especially if it's made of wool, you'll eventually start to see balls accumulating on the surface. What you can do is grab yourself a shaver and start to lightly move your way across. And this can slowly and safely remove them from the jumper. And then you can do whatever you like with the other balls. Hack number 43 is one for if your shoes get incredibly wet. Maybe you've brought them home, you feel like you've got no hope in rescuing them. What you can do, if you're someone who still reads newspapers, is use that newspaper. Crumple it up and ram it deep into the toes of the shoes. This will help to soak up some of the excess moisture, without running the risk of putting it right next to a radiator and ruining the leather. Other types of paper do a reasonable job of this sort of thing too, if you don't read the newspaper. Hack number 44 is going to help you clean out your wardrobe. And that is, at the start of the year, put all of your items in your wardrobe in a certain direction. As in, make sure the hangers are all aligned. Then when you use an item and you wear it, make sure that you place the hanger back in the opposite direction. Do that every single day, every time you wear an item of clothing out of that wardrobe. And then, by the end of the year, if you've still got items of clothing with the hanger pointing in the first direction that you did at the start of the year, you'll know that those are clothes that you need to remove. Get rid of them. Bin them. Because if you're not wearing something, in a whole year, what's the point in having it? You might as well sell it or take it to the charity shop. Hack number 45 is also to do with storage, and it'll help slightly to keep some form of rigidity in your collar. And that is, when you're putting your shirts on a hanger, make sure that you actually do the top button of the shirt up. This will help to keep the placket pinned vertically. Whereas if you hang the shirt with the top few buttons open, it'll just start to sag. And that'll just contribute further towards a floppy collar. Hack number 46 is one that you can implement on your teeth, but it's really useful on your white trainers. If you've got marks on your white trainers, then consider using some baking soda toothpaste. Apply some of this to the upper or even to the laces and scrub a dub. This stuff is meant to make your teeth white. It genuinely works quite well, but it also works on shoes. Hack number 47 will save you if you've used too much hair product. Maybe your hair has gone super slimy and greasy. What can you do in this situation? Use another product to mattify it. And the best one to go for, in my opinion, is some form of styling powder. Sprinkle this stuff onto the greasy hair and it will instantly make it feel and look more dry, giving you a much more natural look as a whole. Either that, or you can use certain types of dry shampoo, but for me, the powder works slightly better. And this can save you from having to wash your hair and start all over again. Hack number 48 is going to save you money on your clothes, or at least allow you to get lots more clothes for cheaper. And that is, rather than buying everything continually at full price, have a look at other ways of buying clothes. I actually buy loads of clothes, especially clothes to include on videos on this channel, from eBay. There are tons of clothes listed on eBay as used, and honestly, probably 7 to 8 out of 10 times the item arrives and it's something that's never been worn. And you can get the items at a fraction of retail price, so in my opinion, it's certainly worth a try if you haven't tried it before. Hack number 49 can easily remove the need to ever have to iron again. And that is, as soon as your clothes have been through the wash, including shirts in particular, make sure you hang them up straight away. Get them on a hanger instantly so that when they dry in a regular fitted position, rather than being folded or crumpled up. And this can actually prevent any wrinkles from forming in the first place. It's the tactic that I've been using now for at least a year, and it works pretty well. You just have to be a bit more on the ball. If you leave the clothes sitting in the washing machine for too long at a time, then the clothes will have already formed the wrinkles. And finally, hack number 50, if you can't lose your virginity, just use Tiege Hanley. Woo! We've done it, lads. 50 style hacks. I hope that you found this video and these tips incredibly useful. I want to thank Scentbird for sponsoring this video, because without them, I don't think I would have made it this far. So if you want to smell great all the time and try out all the famous brands, then it's certainly a great place to head. And make sure to help me out, use my link in the description below. And you'll also get a discount yourself. Let me know which of these 50 you found most useful in the comments section below. And also, comment down below, I made it, to let me know that you've watched all 50 of the style hacks. I'm considering maybe making another 50 style hacks. We'll see how we get on. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you definitely press the like button. And if you want to see more style videos on how to style your hair and what to wear, then make sure you press the subscribe button too, as well as the bell next to it, which means that YouTube can actually notify you when I upload a new video. And I'll see you on the next one.